Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday service of Now Creations. Certainly want to wish a very happy day to all of the mothers in our viewing audience today and those who will view during the week. And I'd like to encourage you to take a minute or two at least today to think about your mothers and just all of the things they did for you, certainly your dads as well, all of the nurturing that we've had in our lives. Just ask you to take that extra minute or two to reflect on it and just truly to understand what a wonderful gift our mothers and fathers and all who nurture us have been in our lives. Having said that, let me also invite all of you who are able to join our New Earth group this evening. It'll be from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Just simply go to study groups, go to our website, nowcreations.org, click on study groups, and scroll down to the New Earth, 6 to 7:30 this evening. And then tomorrow evening, Monday, we'll be having our meditation class from 7 to 8 o'clock p.m. Having said those things, it just continues to be a joy to share with you the experiences of the near-death experiencers as they have given us a glimpse of what is awaiting us beyond our present lives. In part one, we focused on the quality of life in the there, where there is much less worldly noise, and more we are bringing that less noise to our worlds here. And then in part two, we explained some of the changes in beliefs and behaviors of the near-death experiencers, and how they have helped us to reevaluate our beliefs and our behaviors here in the now. Quite an enjoyable growth for all of us. Today, in part three, I want to return to a major philosophical difference that the near-death experiencers have given us. Let's begin. The word that captures what the near-deathers have experienced is the word continuity. Continuity. Our future lives are a continuation of what we are experiencing here and now. The obvious continuity is simply the continuity of life after death. Next week, I will focus on this continuity of life after death in a separate teaching, but there are several other continuities that are very important for us. Thus, the goal in today's teaching is to focus on these other continuities and to see how a focus on these continuities there will help us in our living here and now. In addition, therefore, to the continuity of life after death, there are three other continuities that are very important. Let's examine each one of them. The first of the three continuities, quite frankly, is my favorite. It is the continuity of consciousness. In a nutshell, it means that when you pass, you are still you. When you pass, you are still you. You are the consciousness that you're in your transition. This sense of consciousness of who you are is something that we've really been working on in the study groups of Now Creations. We have been focusing on the reality that your consciousness is your true identity. Your consciousness is your true identity. This consciousness is the answer to the identity question that many philosophers and spiritual teachers have asked when they said, well, who are you? I feel that you can now realistically answer this question. Rather than struggling to answer this identity question of who am I, you can quite confidently say that I am my conscious self. I am my conscious self. I am my self-awareness. I am my self-consciousness. It feels nice to answer that question of who am I, the identity question. But now, you have something more about consciousness that is really worth knowing. You now know, this is so important, you now know that your consciousness is your creative energy. Let me say this again, that your consciousness is your creative energy. You create from your consciousness. Your consciousness puts into action what you want to express. Recently, I shared a statement in one of our weekend enrichment sessions that is very appropriate here. The statement was, I am certain that my consciousness, of which I am consciously aware, is a participation in the universal creative energy of all life, and thus can heal all separations and express desired results of well-being. I'm going to say it again. I am certain that my consciousness, of which I am consciously aware, is a participation in the universal creative energy of all life, of the God Spirit. And thus, it can heal all separations and express desired results of well-being. This statement, in my estimation, is a formulation of the truth of life, that our consciousness is really a participation in the God consciousness, and that we are just as creative as the God consciousness has been. And little by little, we're beginning to accept the fact that we are consciously doing what the divine is doing. Or if you like, the divine is doing what we are doing, because we are in that consciousness. We certainly realize that there were times when we were unconscious of our creative energy, perhaps for many years, and we know that many people still are. But no longer are we unconscious. We realize that the near-death experiencers have experienced a continuity of consciousness, which is now what we are able to experience right here, right now, this continuity of consciousness. Our consciousness is the creating energy from which we are creating our future now. Do you understand this? That our consciousness, of which we are consciously aware, is how we are creating our futures now. We are not waiting to pass to become fully conscious. Do you not see how much you've advanced? Your consciousness, your self-awareness is the creative substance. It is the creative energy that you are experiencing here and now, living tomorrow, today. This is big. The second continuity. The second continuity is an immediate consequence of our consciousness. The second continuity is the continuity of our thoughts and emotions. When the near-deathers experienced the there, they brought with them their thoughts and emotions from here. Let me say it again. When the near-deathers experienced the there, they brought with them their thoughts and emotions from here. For the near-deathers, there was not an immediate wiping of their slate clean, but rather they realized that their present mental and emotional states were how they encountered the there. This was especially apparent in an experience that so many of them had, as well as containing an enormous lesson for all of us. First, the experience. Many of the near-deathers went through what is called a life review. The life review is a clear understanding of not only what the near-deathers experienced in their lifetime, but also clearly reveals that the thoughts and emotions that they had were often linked with the thoughts and the emotions of others. Let me repeat this. In the life review, it's not just about your thoughts and emotions, but also the effects that your thoughts and emotions have had on others, and their thoughts and emotions on you. This understanding of the life review, I think, is important for two reasons. First, it helped the near-deathers to see that moments in their lives that were transpiring, they could understand which moments were authentic and which moments were not. They knew when they were unduly under the influence of others, as opposed to being in their own authenticity. We're learning to be authentic now. We think for ourselves. We are conscious ourselves. And we are being authentic from our inner self. And secondly, of course, their behavior certainly, in a sense, did influence the thoughts and emotions of others. Now, that's such a very important thing for us to grasp as well, because it's not what we're doing influencing the thoughts and emotions of others. Are you not seeing yourself as a light in the world? Now, the follow-up point is in order. Such a review was not given or was a judgment received, but rather there was simply an observation that was pointed out. The observation, without judgment, without criticism, was that, well, we have an influence upon others, and they upon us. And it's very important for us to understand that, well, that's what's important in life for us to know. There are two big lessons for us to learn. On the one hand, such a life review clearly helps us to know what we often begin to feel, that we do influence others. We especially understand this because we know how much they influence us, but we also understand how we are influencing others. We are a light to the world. We are a light to the world. What we are doing is evolving all humanity and the planet. But it's the second lesson that to me is so very important for us. Here it is. Now that we understand that we will have a life review, we all will have a life review. Now that we know that our thoughts and emotions are clearly tied to the thoughts and emotions of others, now that we know these things, are we not now ready? Are we not now ready to expend only love and goodness to others? Here and now, are we not ready just to extend loving kindness, understanding to others, here and now? We don't need to wait for a life review of what could have been. We're ready to do that, here, now. We're doing it. here, now. There is no need for us to wait for an afterlife to review this lesson. So important for us to understand it here and now. Now, I know you know what I'm going to say now. I know that you know that in order for us to live here and now, we're not just trying to put off an embarrassing moment we might have later on in our life review. I think you know that. We're not just trying to avoid a future embarrassment, but rather, the love and the understanding are qualities that we are experiencing within ourselves because we understand that we have been created from our loving creative energy of the God Spirit. And knowing that we are created from that Spirit, we are now able to extend these very same qualities to others. We are an extension of the divine. Do you not see how you have raised the quality of your thinking and your emotions to the point that you are absolutely considerate of others? You have raised your thoughts and emotions to the understanding of oneness. This is quite an accomplishment. You've raised your thoughts and emotions to the point of oneness. You're thoughtfully and emotionally living oneness now. No need for a life review when you are living tomorrow, today. Even with those with whom it's difficult, you understand rather than criticize. You're living tomorrow, today. Now for the third continuity. This might be a surprise for many of you, but I think that it will be a very pleasant surprise, which should not surprise us anymore. Everything we seem to uncover is a greater and greater enjoyment. The third continuity is the continuous learning and growing after death. It's the continuous, ongoing learning and growing after we pass. Let's look at this in three ways. First, for many people, a way of thinking that has developed is that as soon as we leave the earth, our earth life is completed, one goes to an eternal place of bliss, where one simply enjoys forever what God has in store for you. This notion is popularly held, but was seen quite differently by Robert Monroe in his book, The Ultimate Journey. Monroe clearly stated that however blissful a future state might be, it turns out in the long run to be quite repetitive, really quite boring. For you see, there is an impulse within us to expand. There is an impulse within us to expand. And it is in the expansion that beyond the earth that our continuous growth occurs. It's kind of like the following quote: the mind is like a car battery. It recharges by running. See, when have you ever been satisfied with what you've done? Not that you haven't enjoyed satisfactory things, but there's the impulse to create, not just here, but beyond, but also here, also here, also here. Secondly, take a look at your own spiritual path. There was probably a time when you didn't even realize that you were on a spiritual path or that a spiritual path existed. But then little by little, just little by little, but more and more, you started that journey of spiritual discovery. Now, as you look back over your life, do you not realize how much you have grown? You have advanced. But the key word is advanced. Advancement does not mean the end of the journey. In fact, with each advancement, there has come a new opportunity to advance beyond the old level. It's kind of like that wise saying, the more you know, the more you realize that you don't know, which then opens up for us greater opportunities for growth. It's an impulse within us. It's an impulse within us to create. Again, let me quote a wonderful saying. The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but rather a fire to be kindled. The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled. I think you and I have lit our fires, and we're helping each other to continue to do so. What I think is very important for us, however, is the last point that I feel maybe is the most compelling of the three. Within you, where you're sitting here right now, within you, there is a yearning to create. There is a yearning to discover, not just to discover what is new, but to create what is new. There was a time when we would be satisfied to discover what was new. Hear the latest thing. That's different than being desirous of creating what is new. To take what you know and to use it for your next creation, and then to use that new creation as the basis for your next new creation, and so on and so forth. We are creative energies. We are creative beings. And wherever we are, in whatever realm we're dealing with, we will always create that which is new from within, because creative energy is who we are. Because that's what God is. And so are we, of which we are consciously aware. Please ponder this last point. You are the creative extension of the God Spirit. For now, creating here on earth. And then when you move on, creating beyond. Always creating. That's bringing the there here. In conclusion, I ask you to consider these 3 points of continuity: the continuity of life and consciousness, the continuity of mind and emotions, and the continuity of learning and growth. This is so much for us to consider in this teaching today. Next week, I will focus on the continuity of life after our physical passing, with its several implications. But please come to realize that life really is a continuous creation of you, from you. Life is a continuity of creation of you, from you, with so much more to create. Quite a continuity. Let me now take you into meditation, and what a joy it is to do so. Let us begin as we normally do by just taking that moment to focus on the breath and to realize that as we focus on the breath, that life force within us, it calms us, settles us, our bodies, our minds and emotions, and especially it brings our soul to the fore. Please begin. And would you simply say to yourself, well, here I am. Here I am again. This is me. This is my inner self. And would you just focus on this? This is my inner self. This is me. And would you say to yourself that I am conscious of being me? I am consciously me. I am consciously me. I am self-aware. Okay, are you ready for this? This is who you have always been. Whether you recognize it or not, but more importantly, this is who you will always be from here on. You will consciously know yourself as a creating energy. This is the eternal you of whom you're conscious. This is that part of you that is part of the universal consciousness. And may I encourage you to realize that this conscious presence The part of you that is part of the universal consciousness is now the presence that is becoming your daily presence. It is the way that you are now living. You're not forgetting this anymore. Maybe for a moment, but that's all. You are consciously you. Now, with that conscious presence, knowing that it is with you, are you not kinder and more understanding? Are you not smarter, more intelligent, more knowledgeable than you've ever been? This presence with you does not make you nearly as susceptible to the dramas of life. Isn't that true? Don't you just recognize them now? Oh, geez. There they go again. But that's not you anymore. And may I just suggest this to you, and I see this in so many members of our groups. This presence within you, you're beginning to feel it in such a conscious way that it moves you through the things you have to deal with in life so much more easily, graciously. Are you not feeling that you are in partnership with that higher energy that moves you through what needs to be done? Your thoughts and emotions, because you have the greater presence, are certainly less worrisome to you. And because they're less worrisome to you, they are certainly less worrisome to others. In fact, you, in your conduct, feeling that presence within you, are not only healing separations, but also bringing forth desired results of well-being. Please do not underestimate that you are a light in the world. No need to wait for a life review. You're seeing it clearly right now. There was a time when probably all of us were a little unconscious about what the heck is the spiritual path? How do you become spiritual? Is that like religion? No, no, not quite. Oh, self-improvement books. No, no, not quite. It's realizing your connection to that larger universal energy. And then realizing that as you connect, you see more, you learn more. But probably the best thing of all is that you get excited. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. There's an excitement to move forward. It's an inner joy. It's this inner joy that allows you not to allow life to become the same old, same old. But even doing the same old things, there's just something different. There's an energy within you, an excitement. You're doing it differently. You're showing up with a greater light. I would go so far as to say that you're showing up with a radiance. And in that radiance, you seem to be content wherever you are. Because wherever you are does not depend upon what's going on outside of you, but rather it's the radiance within you that you bring to what's going on. We've changed. Ever so much more happily.
I honor thee, I honor thee, Namaste, I honor thee, I honor thee, I honor thee, Namaste, I honor deep within, peace resides, faith abounds, and love abides. The light shines bright to illumine love without, love within. I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee. I honor thee. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor thee. When you are where you need to be, within that space, I honor thee. Seen through eyes of illusion, seen through spirit, I honor thee. I honor thee. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor thee. I honor thee. I honor thee. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor
What a joy it is to be able to profit from the experience of those who have seen the other side. And then to feel that, we're doing this right here, living there, here, tomorrow, today. That the best way thing, we're doing it together. We're doing it together. There's a oneness that is such a beauty to behold. You are a part of that beauty. Namaste. Pleasant days to everyone today. Namaste to all of you. Bravos, bravos, kudos to everyone.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, joy to be with you. Joy to be with you today.
Thank you, Vince.
Pleasure. Pleasure. Thanks, Pat. Gabriel, pleasure. Ralph, just nice to have everyone. Jillian, John.
Namaste.
Namaste, everyone. Lovely, lovely day.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Let that light shine. Let it go. Let it go.
Thanks,
Bye-bye,
Vince.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Take care.